When most people think about controlling blood sugar, they immediately think about carbohydrates, sugar intake, and maybe medication. But very few people think about minerals. And that's a major mistake, because blood sugar regulation is not just about what you remove from your plate, it's about what your body actually has available to function properly. Minerals are the silent activators behind the scenes. They don't get the spotlight, but they are absolutely essential for insulin to work the way it's supposed to. Here's what many people don't realize. Insulin is a hormone, but it cannot do its job alone. It depends on certain minerals to help move glucose out of the bloodstream and into the cells. Think of insulin as a key. If the lock is rusty or damaged, the key won't work smoothly. Minerals help keep that lock functioning properly. Without them, even if your body produces insulin, your cells may not respond effectively. That's what we call insulin resistance. Now, here's where it becomes even more important for diabetics. High blood sugar actually increases the loss of minerals through urine. So the very condition someone is trying to manage may be depleting the exact nutrients needed to improve it. On top of that, modern diets, especially processed foods, are significantly lower in essential minerals compared to whole, unprocessed foods. Add stress to the equation, which also drains key nutrients, and you have a perfect storm for deficiency. This is why two people can eat the same meal, but one experiences a massive glucose spike while the other doesn't. It's not always just about the carbs, it's about how efficiently their body can process those carbs, and mineral status plays a critical role in that efficiency. Before we even talk about which specific minerals matter most, we have to understand this foundation. If the body lacks the raw materials it needs, blood sugar control becomes significantly harder, no matter how disciplined someone is with their diet. And that's why addressing mineral balance is not optional, it's essential. Now that we understand how critical minerals are in general, let's talk about one of the most powerful and commonly deficient minerals in people with diabetes: magnesium. Magnesium is involved in more than 300 biochemical reactions in the body. That alone should tell you how important it is. But when it comes to blood sugar control, its role becomes even more significant. Magnesium plays a direct role in insulin sensitivity. In simple terms, it helps your cells respond properly to insulin. Remember what we discussed earlier. Insulin is the key that unlocks the cells so glucose can enter. Magnesium helps keep that locking system working smoothly. When magnesium levels are low, the cells can become more resistant to insulin. That means glucose stays in the bloodstream longer, causing higher blood sugar levels. Here's something many people don't realize. Low magnesium levels are extremely common in individuals with type 2 diabetes. And it's not just coincidence. Elevated blood sugar increases urinary magnesium loss, meaning the more uncontrolled the blood sugar, the more magnesium the body can lose. Over time, this creates a vicious cycle. Low magnesium worsens insulin resistance, which raises blood sugar, which further depletes magnesium. Magnesium also helps regulate inflammation. Chronic low-grade inflammation is a major contributor to insulin resistance. By supporting anti-inflammatory pathways, magnesium indirectly improves metabolic health. It also supports better sleep quality and stress regulation, both of which are crucial for stable blood sugar. Poor sleep and high stress increase cortisol, and cortisol raises blood glucose. So magnesium works on multiple levels: cellular, hormonal, and neurological. Research has shown that improving magnesium intake may help reduce fasting blood sugar and improve overall insulin function, especially in individuals who are deficient. But it's important to understand that magnesium isn't a magic pill. It works best as part of a comprehensive approach that includes balanced nutrition, movement, and proper medical guidance. The key takeaway here is simple. If magnesium levels are low, blood sugar control becomes much harder than it needs to be. Supporting adequate magnesium intake can help restore insulin sensitivity and break that depletion cycle. And that makes magnesium one of the most foundational minerals every diabetic should pay attention to. Building on magnesium, the next mineral that deserves serious attention is chromium. While it's needed only in trace amounts, its impact on blood sugar regulation can be significant. Chromium plays a key role in enhancing the action of insulin. It doesn't replace insulin, and it doesn't force the body to produce more of it. Instead, it helps insulin do its job more effectively. Think of chromium as a support system for insulin receptors. When insulin binds to a cell, it sends a signal that allows glucose to enter. Chromium helps strengthen that signaling process. Without enough chromium, that signal can become weaker, and glucose may remain circulating in the bloodstream longer than it should. Over time, this contributes to elevated blood sugar and increased insulin resistance. One of the interesting things about chromium is its connection to cravings, especially sugar cravings. When blood sugar levels fluctuate rapidly, the body often responds with intense hunger or a desire for quick carbohydrates. By supporting more stable glucose metabolism, chromium may help reduce those sharp spikes and crashes that drive cravings, and fewer cravings can mean better dietary control, which directly supports overall diabetes management. Chromium also influences how the body processes carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. It's involved in improving glucose tolerance, meaning the body can handle carbohydrate intake more efficiently. This doesn't mean someone can ignore diet and rely on chromium alone. But when combined with balanced eating, adequate sleep, and regular movement, chromium can enhance the body's metabolic response to meals. Deficiency in chromium isn't always obvious, but modern dietary patterns can contribute to lower intake. Highly processed foods often lack trace minerals, including chromium. Additionally, stress and high sugar consumption may further deplete levels over time. For individuals already struggling with insulin resistance, even a small deficiency can make blood sugar control more challenging. The important thing to understand is that chromium works at the cellular communication level. It supports the conversation between insulin and your cells. And when that conversation becomes clearer and stronger, glucose management becomes more efficient. That's why chromium stands out as a powerful trace mineral for supporting stable blood sugar levels. Now let's move to the third mineral that plays a powerful role in blood sugar balance: zinc. While many people associate zinc mainly with immune health, its connection to diabetes management goes much deeper. Zinc is directly involved in the production, storage, and release of insulin. In fact, insulin is actually stored in the pancreas in a crystalline structure that requires zinc. Without adequate zinc, that storage and release process cannot function optimally. Think about what that means. If magnesium helps insulin work better, and chromium helps insulin communicate more effectively, zinc helps ensure insulin is properly made and available in the first place. The pancreas relies on zinc to package insulin correctly so it can be released when blood sugar rises. When zinc levels are low, insulin secretion can become less efficient, which may contribute to unstable glucose levels. Zinc also plays a major role in reducing oxidative stress. People with diabetes often experience higher levels of oxidative damage due to prolonged elevated blood sugar. Over time, this oxidative stress can affect blood vessels, nerves, and organs. Zinc functions as a powerful antioxidant mineral, helping protect cells from that damage. By lowering oxidative stress, zinc indirectly supports better insulin sensitivity and overall metabolic stability. Another critical factor is inflammation. Chronic inflammation is closely linked to insulin resistance. Zinc helps regulate inflammatory responses in the body, keeping them from becoming excessive. When inflammation is better controlled, insulin signaling improves. This creates a more favorable internal environment for blood sugar regulation. Just like magnesium, zinc can also be depleted more quickly in individuals with uncontrolled blood sugar. Increased urinary loss and dietary insufficiency can both contribute to deficiency. And because zinc is involved in immune function, low levels can also make diabetics more susceptible to infections, which themselves can cause temporary spikes in blood glucose. The key takeaway here is that zinc supports the very foundation of insulin biology, from production to protection. Without enough zinc, the entire system becomes less efficient. And when you strengthen that foundation, you give your body a better chance to maintain stable, healthier blood sugar levels. Now that we've talked about magnesium, chromium, and zinc individually, we need to address something many people completely overlook: the deficiency trap. This is the hidden cycle that keeps so many diabetics stuck, even when they're trying to do everything right. Because the truth is, high blood sugar doesn't just reflect a problem. It can actively worsen the underlying nutrient imbalances that contributed to it in the first place. When blood glucose levels stay elevated, the kidneys work harder to filter and remove excess sugar through urine. But glucose doesn't leave alone. Along with it, essential minerals like magnesium and zinc are lost at higher rates. Over time, this increased excretion can quietly deplete the body's mineral reserves. So the very condition someone is battling is steadily draining the tools needed to improve it. Now layer modern eating habits on top of that. Many processed and refined foods are calorie-dense but mineral-poor. Refining grains strips away much of their natural chromium content. Highly processed meals often lack magnesium-rich plant foods. Even soil depletion over time has reduced the mineral density of certain crops. So even people who feel they are eating normally may not be getting optimal levels of these critical nutrients. Stress makes the situation even worse. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, and cortisol raises blood sugar. At the same time, stress accelerates magnesium depletion. Lack of sleep, another common issue, further disrupts glucose regulation and increases cravings for high carbohydrate foods. It becomes a compounding cycle. Stress raises blood sugar. High blood sugar increases mineral loss, and mineral loss worsens insulin resistance. This is why some individuals feel frustrated. They cut sugar, they try to follow dietary guidelines, yet their numbers don't improve as expected. If underlying mineral deficiencies aren't addressed, the body may still struggle to respond efficiently to insulin. It's like trying to repair a system without replacing missing parts. Understanding this deficiency trap shifts the perspective. It's not only about restriction, it's about restoration. When you replenish what the body has been losing, you create a stronger internal environment for blood sugar stability. And breaking that depletion cycle is a crucial step toward long-term metabolic balance. So after understanding how magnesium supports insulin sensitivity, how chromium strengthens insulin signaling, how zinc protects and supports insulin production, and how the deficiency cycle can quietly keep blood sugar elevated, the next logical question is, what should you actually do? First, supplementation should never be random. More is not always better. The goal is correction and balance, not excess. Whenever possible, testing mineral levels through a healthcare provider can give you a clearer starting point. While not every mineral test is perfect, it can still provide helpful guidance. This prevents unnecessary megadoses and ensures you're targeting a real need. Second, the form of the mineral matters. For example, certain forms of magnesium, such as glycinate or citrate, tend to be better absorbed and gentler on digestion compared to cheaper oxide forms. Chromium picolinate is commonly used in research for glucose metabolism support. Zinc forms like zinc picolinate or zinc gluconate are often better absorbed than lower quality alternatives. Quality and bioavailability make a real difference in outcomes. Third, supplementation should support, not replace, foundational habits. Minerals work best in a body that is already being supported by balanced meals, fiber-rich vegetables, adequate protein, hydration, movement, and consistent sleep. If someone is relying on supplements while ignoring lifestyle factors, results will likely be limited. Think of minerals as amplifiers. They enhance what you're already doing right. It's also important to introduce changes gradually. Adding multiple supplements at once can make it difficult to identify what's helping or causing side effects. Start strategically. Monitor blood sugar trends. Work alongside a healthcare professional, especially if you are on medication, because improved insulin sensitivity can sometimes lower blood sugar more effectively than expected. Finally, remember that the goal is stability, not perfection. Small improvements in insulin response and glucose control compound over time. When you restore the minerals your body depends on, you're strengthening the internal systems that regulate blood sugar every single day. And when you combine smart supplementation with smart lifestyle choices, you give yourself the strongest possible foundation for long-term blood sugar control.